Patrick Royce joins us here on Mackie and Judd and the SKOR North YouTube channel. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays. You can find Royce Unchained on Mondays. SKORNorth.com, great central place, and the app for everything we do. What is on your mind on this glorious Wednesday, Patrick?
Hey, Judd, what was going on at the start of the Wild Vancouver game? Was that their home opener or something?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay, because that allowed the World Series game to finish before the Wild, the Vancouver game did. I was very interested as to which would finish first, but I clicked over at 9:15, and they were still fooling around in Vancouver. And then I said, maybe giving them a 2 hour and 10-minute advantage will allow baseball to finish. And they did. There was only about 6-7 minutes. There was 6-7 minutes to go in the third period when the World Series game ended.
I think we introduced every doctor and nurse who has ever worked in BC before that game.
Oh, really? So it was. We did a lot of COVID appreciation of first responders and stuff. So.
They lifted their restrictions this week.
Really?
It was earlier this week. And so, so we brought in every doctor and nurse that we could possibly dig up, and we threw them out there and said, thank them. So that's
and
why.
I saw moments of polite applause for everyone as everyone in the stands was saying, drop the bleeping puck. You knew what was going on. But here's what I can't figure out. When they're going to do those, why don't they do them at 6:40 instead of 7 o'clock,
I don't know.
Do them before you don't have to put the whole damn thing on television. We don't care. Come on, let's go.
Did you see the Milwaukee Bucks when they did their ring ceremony and all of this was like live on TNT? And I think the TNT executives, this is like 2 weeks ago, the TNT executives were probably told, it'll just be a little ring. We'll get Giannis's ring and a couple owners, whatever. They literally, like the PA guy was announcing names for like 40 minutes. Like they announced like 6 minority owners, and now we're going to go to the assistant support staff. We've got junior intern assistant trainer. It's like, what?
I told you I was down at Milwaukee. They got big murals all over the place. They're not being very humble about this Bucks championship like we would be if the Timberwolves.
Oh,
won.
yeah.
They got stuff all over the place. They are definitely enjoying it. And,
hey, what are your current? Let's take the Timberwolves, the Wild, the Vikings, and the Twins. Give us your power rankings, most to least likely, like the closest to winning an actual championship right now. I'm not saying any of them are like on the doorstep, but how would you rank the 4?
I would put the Wild number 1 because of the random nature, because they're good, and because of the random nature of hockey. Right? If somebody, the St. Louis Blues won a championship when they had the worst record in the league after 30 games. And the goalie got hot, and some of their good players got hot, and they changed coaches, and they won a championship. You have to be good to win the cup, and they're good. But you also, if you get in the final 8, you got to, if you don't get bumped right away, you got a chance to win the thing. So I would say the Wild based on, plus they might, when he's playing, they might have the most dominant player in town, right? Kaprizov might be, the guy who can make it the biggest difference in town. So I'd say the Wild.
He might want to mix in a goal at some point.
Yeah, I want to shoot the puck a little bit.
Yeah, you guys are. I know you're down on him. You want to now? You're on.
I think you should trade him. I think they should trade him. Actually,
I think it was a mistake to sign him
and get him out of here.
Anyway, number 2, Vikings. I'd say the Vikings are number 2 in town as far as possibility, but not this year. Not this year. But it could happen because they're the second best team in town. Is what I'm saying. Is I think they're the second best team in town. Third. Yeah, I don't put either the Twins or the Timberwolves third. They're tied for last. They're fourth. They're fourth. They're tied for fourth. Neither of them has a chance in God's green earth to win it in our life. In what I have left, give me 10 more years. Give me 10 more years of knowing what planet I'm on. Okay?
So if you're a vegetable with dementia in like 12, we're not counting that.
If 6 years from now, if I'm saying, and what's your name again? Then it doesn't count. A World Series winner doesn't, or NBA winner doesn't count if you don't know what the hell's going on, right?
Yeah.
So, because they can go back and, they could go back and play the '87 games for me and make me think that they just won the World Series. So,
Yeah.
That Roy Smalley's good. Where'd he come from?
Yeah, right. That's true.
They've been milking.
Say Wild, a fair chance, and the Vikings have an outside chance, and the other two have no chance.
I think you're onto something. Twins, the Twins love to milk the every 5 years of '87 and '91. They might want to go every other year now. It's the 33rd anniversary of the '91 years. Rick Aguilera,
World Series title, man. Come on, it's a championship.
Yeah, well, that's true. What are we going to do now? So are we in '91? We just got 30, and you know what? It was a terrible ceremony. Were you there, Jen?
I don't think I was there.
It was awful. It was just like boring as hell, and the fans were not into it. And it's okay. We just did this at 25. We don't have to do it again at 30.
Well, it's a long time ago now. I mean, a lot of Twins fans, like any Twins fan in their 30s or early 40s, is just kind of like, oh, that's great.
And you're reminding them how long it's been. The 25 should probably be the end of it. And they, I don't know what the crowd was. They were full capacity by then, and I don't think they had 20. They don't have 20.
In theory, they were.
And then they made the poor guys walk in from the bullpen.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't moving too good.
Yeah, but you know what?
but he's got the bad back. He could barely move.
Her back, man.
Those things are not for the fans. They're for the players to go in a suite and get absolutely smashed, which is what I'm sure.
The most fired up guy for the whole thing was Gladden, man.
Of course he was.
Gladden was out convincing them everybody to show up, and he went to Sorrento's hitting. Sorrento was the hitting coach at San Diego, I think, right? He got fired now, I suppose. But I think he was an assistant hitting coach, and no, it wasn't there. It was Madden's guy, and out with the Angels. He was with the Angels. Okay. He went to Madden to get Sorrento permission to show up, and then Sorrento decided. I think the season was going poorly enough that he decided not to show up. But he was all fired up for it. But I think they probably opened themselves up to ridicule about their reunions when they brought back the 2002 team, right?
Yeah, to celebrate
2012, 10 years later.
The playoff win, you guys are grossly underestimating the value of a playoff win.
I know,
when you lost 18
consecutive playoff games. But you don't want to remind people of that.
Let's bring back the team that lost the first of 18 consecutive playoff games. Put your hands together.
Yeah, well, now they can bring back the 2004 team that won the first game against the Yankees.
Yeah,
right.
They can't. I mean,
we're praise.
Yeah, if this playoff losing streak goes another 3 years, you could do the 20-year anniversary of the last time they won a playoff game in 2004. I'm there for that. Go back for that.
It's in addition to everything else with baseball, it's losing its nostalgia value too. It's losing that, that the one thing that always had was tradition. But when you now play the game with no tradition, the game is being played totally different than it was played when you were talking about these people. You're now making comparisons to things that no longer exist. Bob Gibson, 3 complete games in the World Series, whatever the hell it was. I mean, it's losing that traditional nostalgia, because the youth of America, which I mean 40 and under, is their tradition is what's on the cell phone. I mean, it's not. They've lost that tradition. And here's the thing: you see ESPN go and get hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it fits in a time slot.
Yes.
You see all these things. TV has got to hate this because there's no time slot. They cannot put it in a time slot. 4:06 yesterday. Now, one of the reasons is they give us 1 minute between everything. They add 17 or 18 minutes, itself. But I think I got to think one of these big TV partners is going to say no, thank you. I mean, it's
because
of the time slot.
I'll speak on behalf of people in their 30s and younger. I mean, baseball's always been my favorite sport, and the World Series is sort of a duck in. Like, I'm not going to watch all 4 hours of that game.
Yeah, right.
I'm not.
They invaded a duck in. I covered 24 straight, and 25 out of 26 I covered, and I loved it. But it got to the point now. Newspapers no longer go to it, and why should they? 'Cause
Right.
They
Yeah.
can't
Also,
get
like,
to
who has, unless you're being paid to cover a game, like,
yeah.
who has time to sit down for 4 hours and 6 minutes?
Yes. And if you go to cover it, you can't get to the clubhouse. If you're going to file something that's going to be online at 2:30 in the morning, nobody's up to see what you wrote at 2:30 in the morning.
Well, and now you get what, Zoom calls? Like, I mean, it's just pointless now. If you're a paper, unless your team is in it, it's pointless to cover.
I don't know. Are they getting into the clubhouse now? I don't know.
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so.
no, I'm sure they're not.
Oh,
I'm sure you're getting podiums.
Well, I'm pretty sure even even before COVID, in the postseason, there was very limited clubhouse access.
Yeah, after the games you were allowed in, not before. Before,
right?
That got eliminated.
But that still gave you something. Like now it's just all group thing.
I remember when the big fight, that's the whole I am, was when they put ropes around the batting cage. So you could not basically walk up and lean on the batting cage. And Dick Young from the New York Daily News, who could start a riot in a nunnery, there were meetings, there was this outraged thing that you had to stand. These 300 guys covering the World Series had to stand behind the ropes during batting practice. That was the start of it all, of the loss of access. And Dick Young was nuts, screaming at him about not being able to lean next to the batting cage. So,
that's because ball guys love to lean on the cage. Dick Bramer takes great pride to this day in going and leaning on the cage and leaning forward and observing batting practice.
It's a big ball guy thing.
Hand on the hip.
It is great. Yeah. And shake hands with the other ball guys who are on the cage. Yes.
Great day for baseball, Phil.
Well, it was, I would go down on the field beforehand, not to get any information, but just to BS with other writers. I didn't care if I was behind the ropes or not. If I saw some player I knew from the other team, I might be able to talk to him for 2 minutes. But it's.
Hey, did you guys see the latest San Diego Padres manager candidate?
Ozzie
Guillen.
Bring back Ozzie. He'd be perfect.
Oh my God.
He goes way back with Machado. The Machado family, he's like. But he needs to get his head out of his wherever.
I think we might have lost Pat. Let's throw him. There we go. All right. If we can get Pat back, I want to hear the rest of this. But Ozzie, he's been out of managing for I don't know how many years. And didn't he have just like a fiery?
Marlins.
Okay, that's right. He went to the Marlins.
Yeah, but he got fired for the Marlins because he set out what a tough guy Fidel Castro was.
That's right. That's what it was. Yeah.
He admired him because he hung in there. And of course, there's 300,000 or 400,000 Cuban refugee, now 70-year-old people who hate Castro, and they're the reason Florida votes Republican every year because they all hate Obama for trying to normalize relations with Cuba. And Ozzie, he lasted about 4 days after he promoted Castro. But he's the greatest. He's more fun than anybody. I think I'd give him a shot again. What the hell?
Yeah. Also, like baseball, how many managers in baseball right now are even identifiable? Like they're all just like robotic extensions of front offices. Baseball needs more. They need about 5 more Ozzies, like just personalities that can be fun and generate excitement, even if he's not doing anything tactically. I want some Ozzie personality in baseball.
I do love this throwback Atlanta coaching staff, though.
Yeah.
You look at the manager. It's looking at Cal Irmer managing the Twins in 1968. the pitching coach walks out there. You hope he's going to make it. He's got the long white beard, and then the guy whispered in his ear is like 70 years old too. It's like Calvin. It's like Calvin's coaching staff. It's amazing, and they might win the World Series. It would be. It's just, it blows my mind that this guy Schnitker has made a success out of it, because he's as throwback as it gets, for God's sakes.
I believe this is the oldest matchup of managers in the history of the World Series, they said.
But
right?
Dusty's
young compared to
explainable. Dusty's explainable because they needed somebody to calm the waters after the phony baloney's cheating scandal. So, by the way, when I heard when Duvall hit that home run, I felt like I heard Soler hit the home run. I thought I heard a garbage can getting pounded. So,
So Schnitker started in the Braves minor league system in like '82, right, Pat?
Yeah, he's been in the organization 40 years. Yeah. And he's he got the job because who'd they get mad at? They just gave it to him on an interim basis during the season. And then they played okay, and they gave him the job, and now he might win the World Series out of nowhere. All those great Braves teams that got beat in the NLCS, they had that long run, and they got upset. The Marlins beat them, and just a bunch of teams that shouldn't have beat them. And now this club could end up winning the World Series.
Yeah, love it. All right, Pat, we'll see you later this week on Friday, sir.
All righty, good enough. Go Crackheads. Go Crackheads.
Go Crackheads.
Yes. All right. Bye.
All right. Montreal last night.
Rapping with Royce here on Mackie and Judd in the SKOR North YouTube channel.